McDonald. Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. Well, I hope you guys all saw my Below Deck parody with my family. It was very fun. It's on all the social media platforms that I participate in, so make sure you watch, share it, spread the word. I appreciate it. Everything's at heathermcdonald.net. I had a Karen moment in which someone might have perceived me as the Karen, even though I'm a Heather. And I'm proud of it, and I'm going to tell you the story. So I was walking down a street in my neighborhood, and my son and his friend were ahead of us on their bikes, and I was walking with a friend's mom. And this very nice car drove up into the driveway of the home that we were passing with all the windows down, blaring really, really vulgar rap music using the N-word, the F-word, P-U-S-S-Y, every bad word, okay? And not a tune I recognized, by the way. And I was like, oh, wow, wonder who lives here. I see this person get out of the car, and he does not turn off the car or, he's keeping all the windows down and the music at the full blast. And I'm telling you, so loud, like you could hear it from several blocks away. And if someone's driving their rap music and it's really loud, I don't chase a car down and say, hey, turn it down. But now you're parking, and then he gets out of the car and he's proceeding to leave it on, the car running. Now, it's not a really hot day. It's not like you leave the car running. And even if you wanted to keep the car running, couldn't you just turn down the music? So he's walking up to the front door, and I'll tell you something. He was white, okay? He was white. He could have been one of my son's friends. And only because he was white did I feel, as a white person, I could be like, hey, asshole, what the fuck are you doing? So I did. And he looked like he was between the ages of 16 and 20. So he's walking up to the door, and I'm just kind of looking at him like, what the fuck? And he looks at me, and he's like, yeah. And I go, really, dude? Like, the language, you got to keep the car running with this kind of language going on? Like, there's kids around. And he's like, fuck you. F, 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 F. All these, saying all these bad words, just screaming at me like a crazy person. And I'm like, my friend goes, oh, my God, just keep walking. Just go. I'm like, oh, my God. So we keep walking. Then we hear him come out as we're ahead of him. And he's in the middle of the street, on the phone, telling his friend about the story. And he's like, and then this bitch comes and says this to me, and I just screamed, F you, and screaming it at us. And anyway, I just want you guys to know that I would have never said anything if that person wasn't a white kid that looked like my son. So I don't know what that means to the Karen movement. I don't know what that means to the white privilege movement. But I just felt like, yeah, I can say this to this person. Really, just sharing, you guys, because, I don't regret it. And you know what? It felt freaking good. It really felt good to tell someone they were being an asshole and acting like a complete idiot. And the only thing I wish is that he would have filmed me. Because I really think, now a lot of Karens film themselves thinking, oh my God, the world's going to be on my side, that I'm yelling at this Walmart person who's checking my receipt. And then, of course, no one's on their side. I really think if he'd filmed me peacefully walking by and going, really, dude? Come on, you got to have the music going loud. I think a lot of people would have been like, who's this Heather? And I want to be her friend. Does she have a podcast? That's what I think would have happened. But he didn't have his phone out, unfortunately. So I'm just continuing at this level of notoriety. Kanye, you guys, he did a rally in South Carolina, and he needs so many signatures to get on these ballots. So I guess he is still running for president. I thought he wasn't. He had a security vest on, and he started to freak out, and he's been filmed, and he gets very emotional, and he says that the only reason he's here is because his mother didn't listen to his father, who wanted to abort him. His father was lazy. His mother, had his mom not protected him, there'd be no Kanye West. Then he starts to cry and say, I almost killed my daughter. I almost killed my daughter. Now, a lot of people took that tiny little clip of I almost killed my daughter and put it out there without the context. So people are like, oh my God, in the middle of the night, did he try to kill North or Shy? Like, what happened? He was saying that when he got the call from Kim that she was having a baby, he was not down for it at the time and discussed abortion with her. And she said, absolutely not. And thank God for that, because he has so much joy from his children. But he's crying, he's sweating, he brings people up to the stage to talk, but then he doesn't let them talk. Like, it's back to the Taylor Swift days. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I really don't know what Kim is thinking. I just think she's probably like, you know what, I got to study my law. I've got a bunch of kids that are going to start Zoom school in about a month. Just go to Wyoming. I don't know. I don't know what the plan is here. I don't know what Kris Jenner's doing today. I wish I could tell you guys. Or do they just go, that's Kanye? That's Kanye. You guys know it. I know it. And, you know, it's very weird. Okay, now I'm going to, before I get into my next thing I'm going to talk about, which, well, I'm going to talk about now, Chrissy Teigen. Okay, Chrissy Teigen, you guys, she is getting a lot of heat. I don't know if you know that she's deleted 60,000 tweets. I think basically she just deleted all of her tweets from like the first 5 years of Twitter, just swept it. I don't think she picked them out. I just think she said, just get rid of them. Because with all the Jeffrey Epstein and GMAX stuff, and a lot of conspiracy, a lot of people throwing in, I think a lot of people thinking that they're all part of these pedophile rings, which, you know, there's no proof that there is. They're attacking Chrissy Teigen because of her tweets. Now, one tweet that she wrote, July 13th, 2011, 9 years ago, seeing little girls do the splits half naked is just ... I want to put myself in jail. Hashtag toddlers and tiaras. Okay. You know what? I think she was trying to be funny. She tries to be funny a lot. This kind of stuff, honestly, reminds me of when we were on Chelsea lately and, you know, joking about like things like this. Not that you're really a pedophile. I have a joke where I, you know, joke, honestly, give my kids treats, chocolate and candy, so that I can hug and kiss them. And I've joked, I'm slowly turning into a pedophile. I'm trading treats just to hug my boys that don't want to be hugged. So I just think in that case, but she did. So I don't blame her for getting rid of all of her stuff. I think that was smart. But she also posted that she was getting her breast implants removed. And when she posted the sewn up titties, on the bottom of it had her other photos, which she didn't realize when she put on Instagram stories. And people blew that up and saw that some of the other photos was her also getting what appears to be like a facelift or maybe lipo under her chin, but it's around her head. Again, who cares? But interesting that the girl who shares everything isn't sharing about that. So that's some juice for you. So let's get into the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Well, Camille is back. She has a beautiful place in Malibu that's just really healing, because after the reunion, she said it was like it was all these witches against her and they were stirring their pot like the coven, and they said, we're gonna get Camille. And so, but she wants to make good, because word is that Kyle is having another party and she'd like to go and be on camera again. So she calls Kyle and Kyle agrees to come over. And she's like, yeah, you know what? You're such a fucking liar, Camille. You're a real bitch at the reunion, and then you said some shitty things on Twitter, so I don't know if the girls want you around, but you can still come to my black and white party. And she's like, well, I'd really like that. That's great. Also invited is Eileen. Okay, it was a night of old housewives. The Nassifs came, Paul and Adrian came, Maloof, and then also Brandon Glanville, who we'll get into in a minute. But Eileen is there. She's got dark hair because she's doing a movie. Okay, so that's kind of exciting. And so she's getting ready for the party. Prior to that, Denise and Lisa Rinna meet for skinny fries, in which they don't eat. A lot of people were very disturbed by the fact that they did not eat any of their skinny fries. And I was too. And Denise is just like, you know what, Lisa, like, you really hurt me. You know, I thought you were my friend and you don't have my back. And Lisa Rinna was like, well, you know what? you know what, Denise, you kept bringing it up about the threesomes and your daughters being disturbed. And by you continuing to bring it up, you made it go on longer and you're not being truthful. You're not owning it. Okay, see it. So then Dorit has a very weird hairdo. It's like swoopedly curled up. And she goes to Kyle's house the night before the big party. And Kyle says, full disclosure, Camille's coming. And she's like, oh, I knew it was fire season. I didn't know it was snake season as well. And we get reminded through a flashback, which, by the way, so many flashbacks, that Camille had said at a dinner party with cameras on, obviously, because we're watching it, that PK owed her friend a lot of money. And Dorit was like, are you serious, Camille? You're bringing that up to me now. You are a snake. So she's still pissed at Camille over that. Well, Lisa Rinna sees Camille at the party and walks right over and she goes, I know you. You know what? You were an asshole on Twitter. You really were, Camille. And she goes, well, you were like a bunch of witches. Oh, stop it. You know what? I am happy to see you, but I want nothing to do with you. And I'm through and I'm done and good luck. And you need to own it. So she walks off and Eileen's like, wow, don't miss this shit. And then they go to the silent auction and Kyle's clothes. Kyle and Adidas clothing line is, you could bid on that. And Kyle's modeling one of the sparkling jumpsuits in which she shows it off to Kris Jenner, who's also there with Faye Resnick. Also, Jeff Lewis was there. You know who also wasn't there? Me. Did not get invited. No, I did not. I would have loved to have gone, and I probably would have bid on the Kyle clothing line. But, you know, their loss. Brandy shows up with a friend named Mimi who I don't know, they just kind of showed her. For a second, I thought it was the back of Kim Richards. Kim Richards is also there. And she's excited. And Kyle says, I invited Brandy because she did an Instagram story where she was crying about not having her children for the weekend. And I was like, you know what? I like Brandy. I'm going to invite her. Well, I think at this point, my opinion only, Kyle may have known about what went on with Brandy and Denise. And I think she was like, I need to bring Brandy back in the fold. And I think she knows what went on because I think Brandy shared it with her good friend Kim off camera. And Kim told Kyle, and Kyle was like, yeah, you and Brandy should come. Let's get this going. Let's find out the truth. Denise and Aaron show up, ready to have some fun. And Erica Jane's like, really? We've got Aaron coming again, ready to mansplain? Nobody else brought their husbands. Not one other person. The only other husband was there was PK. And PK tries to tell Aaron, you know, buddy, when they climb up the tree, you need to help them down. You don't need them to go further up the tree. He's like, what? Are we talking about pussies going up a tree? Like what? But he was saying when the girls get crazy, take it from me, PK, you don't want them to go further up the tree. You want to whisper them down. It was but I don't think Aaron understood it. And he was like, what? I'm just going to say what I want. So then Camille sees Teddy and she goes, Teddy, hi. You're pregnant. You're 6 months pregnant. You look amazing. And she goes, thanks, Camille, but I really don't need the niceties. I know you don't like me and I really don't care. And she's like, oh, okay. And then we have this little prelude to what's going to go down with Brandy again. And Brandy smacks the back of Denise's ass behind the bar as she's making herself a Casamigos. And she says, oh my God, wow, you guys, you and Aaron are so codependent. And I would just love to be in your throuple. Can I be in your throuple, you guys? To be continued. So we're going to finally get the scoop on that. Now we know that they just had their reunion, I believe, on Thursday night. And Lisa Rinna put an Insta story saying, wow, worst reunion ever. Cease and desist seem to work. And so the thought is that Denise put a cease and desist, meaning you cannot discuss this particular subject. I assume it's about the one night or whatever it was liaison with Brandy, and therefore no one could talk about it. And also the word on the street is Brandy was not invited to the reunion either. So who knows? I think it'll still be good. I'm ready to do a Zoom reunion. I'd like to get those outfits and get my girl Betsy working on them. Now I'm going to get into the Real Housewives of New York. Well, after Richard was gone, Dorinda, had a lot of trouble with the Berkshires, and then I had a flood, but now it's beautiful, and welcome to the Berkshires, girls. And all the girls come, and it's a shit show, okay? This is spread over a couple episodes. So the last episode, people were already getting real drunk. And sure enough, it was rough. It was a rough night, but we're still having fun. A rough afternoon, a little bit. They're getting a little buzzed. But we're going to have dinner now. And Ramona took it upon herself to order all the Chinese food. And the delivery guy comes with the food. And she goes, I ordered a lot because, I know I look thin. I know I look great. But I actually like to eat a lot. A lot of people think I'm a classy lady. But I'm actually like a little bit of a sloppy girl. So, did I order soup? I don't even know. Oh, my God. So the guy's just like, can I just drop off this food? Okay, so it starts out like that. Dorinda comes out in this ridiculous sparkly outfit, which she can wear. She's on TV. It's her home. And Leah is wasted. And she's like, wow, Dorinda, look at you, you bitch. Look at you. You look freaking great. She's like, yeah, I wanted to just sparkle it up for the Berkshires. And the conversation starts back up again, which is they found out that Luann doesn't pay Sonia very much for when she appears in her show. And Luann's like, you know what? I have a cabaret show. And I have a lot of people I travel with. I would like Sonia to be part of it. But, this really isn't anyone's business. And Sonia is wasted. And she's like, I want to do Lou's show, but my time's important too. And she just can't expect me to drop everything, including my dress, just for a couple laughs, because I'm a cabaret girl too. And Ramona's like, that is right, Lou. You know what? She used to do cabaret long before you ever did. That was not cabaret. That was, I don't know what that was. Well, I thought it was pretty good. I don't know why you didn't think it was pretty good. Did I say I didn't think it was good? I just said my show is different. It's an actual professional cabaret show, okay? It's not dancing around talking in whatever Sonia did. And then they flash back to Sonia's thing, and it was like, well, I got to do what I want to do. Who wants to be here? And she's like this weird talking thing, and she turns around and shakes her ass, and everyone's like, yay. So I think she did one night of cabaret. No, not cabaret, like cabaresque. That's not a word. It sounds good. I think it's like risque, but also it's kind of cabaret, but it's not really singing. It's like talking stripping. I don't know what it was. But I guess Luann's drinking again. There was never one big moment where she starts to drink again, but she's drinking at this event. And so she's not drunk, but she's had a couple drinks and she's getting annoyed with everybody. Well, Dorinda's really drunk. And Dorinda says, you're a drunk, Luann. What do you know? And Luann goes, my God, what are you talking about? And she goes, yeah, you got a mug shot. You got a mug shot for your audience, okay? And she's like, oh my God, Luann's like, I can't believe you're doing this again. She gets up and leaves. She starts to pack her stuff. We hear her crying on her mic. She gets all of her bags together, and Dorinda sees the Giovanni bag, and it just triggers Dorinda. And she goes, oh, really? You're leaving, Lou? You could take me for Giovanni, because I got you, Giovanni. Remember Giovanni? Remember that? That was me. And she's like, oh, God, you're horrible. You're horrible, Dorinda. You're horrible. I'm leaving. And she tries to stop her. It gets a little physical. And Luann takes off. And Ramona's like, oh, my God, it's so disturbing because Dorinda is vicious. She just, she just really attacks people. And I've been on the other end of it. And it's really kind of scary. And I mean, she really went after Luann. It was a little bit disturbing. And so Luann's out there and Leah goes, what do you want to do? You want to go to a pub? Let's go to a pub. Sure, I'll go to a pub with you. I'm just so upset. So Luann, Leah, and Ramona go to a pub, which they don't film. The next day, Dorinda calls up Luann, who stayed at a hotel, and is like, it's me. Come back to the Berkshires. Lou, I love you. Let's blame it on the rosé. All right, I love you too. I just ordered room service. I'll see you shopping. So they all meet for shopping, and they start talking about people they've dated. And Leah goes, I dated a prince once. I got to pee on him. They're like, what? Yeah, I peed on a prince. That's what you do. When you've got a prince, you got to pee on him. I liked it, you know. And Luann's like, well, I've dated a prince. I've never peed on a prince. Like, Sonia's like, I like a prince, and I don't care what I have to do to get a prince. Just get me a prince. And, I mean, it's just, the conversation is pretty hilarious. Okay, so then they get back to the house. And, I mean, Ramona, clogged up the toilet. And this is one of my biggest fears. And I'd be terrified if I clogged up Dorinda's toilet as well. And she's like, I think I used too much toilet paper. But then she has Leah come in and they witness a little Ramona turd still swirling around the toilet. So then she invites this guy that's, I forgot his name, but I always thought he was gay. I guess he's bisexual, so there's hope for the ladies, okay? And we also see Dorinda's sister, who looks just like and talks and sounds just like Dorinda, but just like one or two like beats off. It's kind of amazing. I love when we see a famous person's sibling and they're so similar, but it's like, this is what you would look like if you didn't have as much money as your sibling. Like, it's just one of my favorite things. And, but she seems like a delight, and they're good friends, good sisters. Heather from Yummy Tummy comes back. She used to be Real Housewife. She and her husband show up, and Luann is going for, his name's Colin. That's what this guy is. He's another Oprah person that did big events and weddings for Oprah. And, but now he's bi, or he was always bi. And Luann said, that's what I like. A nice man and a nice rack of lamb. That's what I like. So she's flirting with Colin, but it doesn't seem like anything's happening. And there's these other two guys. I don't know if they're gay or not, but they're there. And he's like, oh, you were married for a while? And Ramona goes, yeah, I was married for 20 years. And he's like, do you do digital dating, is what he called it. And she goes, I don't, because you know what? I'm a 1%er. And when you walk around with the world I do, I travel, I have an amazing group of people, and it's really hard. And you know what happens is these guys, their dicks, they get so intimidated they can't get a hard dick because I'm a 1%er. He's like, whoa. I mean, okay, love Ramona's honesty. And then Leah says the thing that every housewife who's significantly younger than her cast member says at one point, I still get my period. And everyone laughs. And I'm like, oh, right. I've been this joke that I have been pointing out for years has been going on too long. By the way, I still do get my period. And then Leah brings this bartender over that she met the night before at the pub. He's like cute, got like a beard, like, well, I don't know, probably 30 years old. And he sits down, and Dorinda wants to talk to him because he works at the same bar that Dorinda worked at when she was young. And it is like the saddest conversation, like where he's just stuck with her. And she's like, you know what? I used to work at the Fireside Bar. I was the most beloved employee ever. And you might, because my mother used to grew up here. And in 1954, she married my father and did it. And it's like, oh my God. And the way they film it goes on so long. Like, no one wants to hear about someone's mother and how they came to the town when you're just a bartender at the town and you're trying to bone Leah. Like, really. But he was polite. And now next week, just more fun seems to happen. With this group, I don't think there's any one big dramatic thing like Beverly Hills. I think it's just a lot of like drunken antics. Some people say it's too much, they can't take it. I say keep it coming. It's the only thing we've got going on in this world. So keep up with that. All right, you guys, go to heathermcdonald.net. I'm going to have a really great Patreon. I'm answering more of your questions. So if you're part of Patreon, there is a way to message me on the app. You can ask me those questions there. And I've got a bunch left from the last time, but it'll be a real good, real juicy Patreon this Friday. So go to heathermcdonald.net, click on Patreon, get signed up, change your life.